والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. So this is the last hadith in the chapter of fasting, Ramadan, and the must or the mandatory fast. And then after that we'll move on to the voluntary fasting, صيام التطوع. قال وعن عائشة رضي الله عنها أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: من مات وعليه صيام صام عنه وليه. So Aisha radiallahu anha stated the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, whoever dies and he has a debt of fasting, then his wali, we'll explain that in a second inshallah, should fast on his behalf or her behalf. So this is a hadith that shows if someone, let's say, let's just start with the simplest one, had a vow to fast a few days. This is another. So the wali, and the wali, some scholars said it is the asaba, and the asaba are the closest relatives that are males, the أقرباء الميت من الذكور. So these are the people that consider the wali. Some people said it doesn't really matter, anyone could do the fast even if they were not relatives. So the nadhr has to be fulfilled. So the other days in Ramadan, let's say someone was traveling or someone was sick and they had to make up these days, then truly they don't have, if someone fasts, it is not mandatory for someone to make up those days on their behalf if they die. If they die, they die, right? So it is mustahab, it is recommended that someone would do it on their behalf, and it is not required. Is that clear? So that takes us to the topic. This hadith is one of the most common hadiths cited for the issue of does a dead person benefit from the acts or the deeds of a live person on their behalf. And we talked about this topic before, that scholars said, the financial acts, the worship, the ibadat al-maliyya, like the sadaqah, this is no controversy. Everyone agrees that the reward goes to the dead person. The controversy when it's the physical acts, right, such as salah and fasting and others. So the Hajj and the Umrah, we know the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, in which he indicated that it is okay to do the Hajj on behalf of someone else, right? The dua as well is something unanimously agreed upon. So the salah, no one disagrees that it cannot be done on behalf of a dead person. Although there is one opinion that when you do the Hajj, when you do the Umrah, what is after the Tawaf? Salat, Sunnat al-Tawaf, and that goes to the reward. So even that is not certain, which shows you some people take it to an extreme, how strict it is. The matter is not like that actually. There is a lot of room to wiggle and navigate. So, and here is an example of the siyam, for example. But they said the nafil is not recommended because the Prophet ﷺ specified that for the mandatory fast, they said. And then the big one is qira'at al-Quran, recitation of the Quran. Does it reach the dead person or not? And the Jumhur actually that it does, including Shaykh al-Islam rahimahullah, they said it does. يعني the people who said it does not, mainly the Shafi'iyya actually, they said it does not. So, and they don't recommend it, but the Jumhur ulama ala jawazihi. So this would sum up basically these issues, and they do, that shows you there is a lot of controversies, and there is not really a firm opinion that could win, yani, with 100% certainty. So if people want to do it, it's up to them. Yani, if you follow a certain opinion, a certain madhab, yani, that is also respected, but no one should try to force their opinion on others, and no one should disregard the other opinion because this is what they've learned.
So recently, while people were mourning and attending the Salat al-Janaza for somebody, and a lot of the ladies were reciting Yasin, a well-known female, in parenthesis, scholar, comes in that setting and scorns them for doing that. How appropriate is that?
Yeah, Jazakallah khairan. So this issue is twofold. So it has two aspects of it. The second aspect is trying to give maw'idah and a reminder for someone who's mourning, who's in a state yani, that is yani, someone in bereavement and grieving and in awe and shock. And so this is not the appropriate setting for advice, for a reminder. These things are academic settings that should be, discussed in the masjid and in a more proper setting. So, and if someone is doing talqeen, just leave them do it. This is not the right place for it. Unless they're in a state they can accept the advice. You tell them the best thing you do for a mayyit is the dua. Now the first aspect of this, whether it is okay to recite Surah Yasin on a dead person, yani we did mention that, remember, when we talked about Dafn and Ahkam al-Janaiz, we said the hadith that was cited, اقرأوها على موتاكم, meaning someone who's dying, in the process of dying, and not someone who's already dead. So, however, some people say, well, we'll just recite it for the barakah of Surah Yasin. That is not what the hadith really indicates. So if someone, as we mentioned, they say it helps facilitate the departure of the soul from the body. And as we mentioned, there are a lot of practices that should be corrected in the right setting. Not, if someone is on the grave, I'm glad no one choked that woman to death, when she was screaming at them, does that answer the question? You already know the answer, but you're trying to make a point, I know, so. More hadith?
It's a question real quick. Because you just said that it's okay to recite Quran. The Quran will on behalf of someone who's dead. But then you just said that Surah Yasin is when they're dying.
Yasin in particular, because that, to do something specific on a certain setting, that takes it to a different level. And it's especially when they're doing it on the grave, when they're doing it. So that's totally different from just reciting the طيب باب صوم التطوع وما نهي عن صومه. So this is a chapter on the voluntary fasting and the days that are prohibited to be fasted. قال وعن أبي قتادة الأنصاري رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم سئل عن صوم يوم عرفة قال يكفر السنة الماضية والباقية. وسئل عن صيام يوم عاشوراء فقال يكفر السنة الماضية. وسئل عن صوم يوم الاثنين فقال أو قال ذاك يوم ولدت فيه وبعثت فيه أو أنزل علي فيه. So Abu Qatada radiallahu anhu said the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam was asked about the day of Arafah, meaning fasting the day of Arafah. So the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said, fasting, meaning it expiates or pardons the sins of the previous year and the following year, right? So the previous year we understand. How about the other year, the coming year, if someone dies or you don't know if they committed sins? So the scholar said Allah will give him, if that person dies, Allah will give him the reward instead. And if he doesn't die, Allah will facilitate him to do good deeds instead of bad deeds. And if he does the bad deeds, also Allah will forgive him. And that applies only to the minor sins, by the way. It does not apply to the kabair, just to be clear. And then he was asked about fasting the day of Ashura, that's the 10th of Muharram. And he said it pardons the preceding year. And he was asked about fasting the day of Monday, and he said, that's the day I was born on, and I was sent a prophet on, or I received the revelation on. So these are the first days. So Abdul Rahman, what are these days that are sunnah to fast? What are these 3 days? So
previous year, 2022. Next year, 2024, not 2023. So what happened to the present year?
no, a day of, no, we're not talking about the year now. The days prior and the year prior to that day and the year after that day.
Which is present then?
Yeah.
What about that day?
Where does it belong to which year, right? So Arafah and Ashura and Monday. طيب. وعن أبي أيوب رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال من صام رمضان ثم أتبعه 6 من شوال كان كصيام الدهر. So this is a very well-known hadith narrated by Muslim. Abu Ayyub radiallahu anhu said, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, whoever fasts the month of Ramadan and then follows it by 6 days of Shawwal, it's as if he fasted the entire year. So what if he does that every year, so he fasted the entire life. That's the devil. So, and this is a very well-known hadith narrated by Muslim. It's very important to realize. Again, this hadith is cited on usul a lot, actually, for a reason. Anyone knows, Khalil, what I'm going to talk about now?
Consecutive days or no?
No, that's very obvious. This hadith shows you that truly some of the madhahib could be wrong, obviously wrong, and you don't have to stick to that madhab. For example, Imam Malik said it is makruh actually to fast 6 days in Shawwal. And no one, يعني من المتقدمين والمتأخرين agrees with that. And if someone says, no, we're just gonna have to stick to what Imam Malik said, you know, this is contrary to the billions of Muslims who have agreed that this hadith that is authentic, narrated by Muslim, and يعني تواتر فيه القول والعمل. يعني people have learned that verbally, traditionally, and by action as well. But if someone says, no, I'm just gonna stick to that, and then tell them, يعني, you're gonna be wrong against the billions of Muslims, right? So
Why did he say that?
said makruh.
Why did he say that?
So Ibn Abd al-Barr justified that. He said that probably this hadith was not received by Imam Malik. And Imam Malik said he was afraid that people would think that it is a fault, right? Because he didn't want people to think so much emphasis on it that it is as much as a fault, right? So he said it is makruh, actually.
One would expect that such a prevailing act would be Amal al-Madina, wouldn't it be? At this time, at least?
Well, this is part of why he said it is makruh, because everyone was fasting it, but that's an indication that it was the practice inherited, this is the heritage of Islam. I mean, even my non-Muslim staff in the clinic, when we finish Ramadan, says, okay, when are you fasting the 6 days? So they're not above the 6 days already. So, because they're counting. And
But is that the accepted position of the Maliki?
The Maliki now, the المشهور in Malikiya, meaning there's a controversy about it, and they fasted, right? But again, sticking to one opinion because someone said so, that's not, even in taqleed, the people who want to follow them. There are so many examples like that, that shows you that it doesn't matter. The stronger opinion is what should prevail and that what should be practiced. And this is accepted, alhamdulillah, by the billions of Muslims throughout history. Now, it could be back to back, and it could be separate days, Mondays, Thursdays, whichever way you want to do it. And there is not, some people say it has to be in a row and it has to be immediately after Ramadan, after you break the fast. And they have certain interpretations of the hadith. None of that has a foot to stand on, actually. So I know some people in Northern Africa, they say it has to be 6 days in a row after the day of Shawwal. That's not accurate. So
Northern Africa is the extreme. Don't do it,
don't do it, or you just
or
have
it has to be 6 in a row.
That's Morocco. It's extreme way out here. طيب وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.
You might want to just talk about if everybody asks that question afterwards. If I have to make up days in Ramadan, can I make them up later, before the 6th day of Shawwal, or I have to make them up before the 6th day of Shawwal?
That's a very good question. So does that apply, if someone has days to make up for Ramadan, so what does that do? The hadith said they have fasted the full month. And the full month, 30 days, times 10, is 300. Plus 6 times 10, so that's 60, that's 360. This is how it's the year. So if someone didn't fast the entire month, that does not apply to them. So for an example, for a woman who has 5 to 6 days she has to make the qada first, and then come up with the fasting of 6 days of Shawwal. There's a very rare opinion that the qada and Shawwal they could do together, and that is not what the Jumhur said. You have to make up for those days, do the qada, and then fast the 6 days.
So that makes Shawwal heavy intensive movement because they will have to do the qada and the 6.
Right, and if they don't want to do that, Aisha radiallahu anha, when she used to make the qada, Sha'ban, so she would wait like a whole year.
So she's doing the 6 before the
Not necessarily, so. And the scholar said, well, Aisha used to attend for the needs of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, and wouldn't be capable of fasting right away. So she would just delay it till it has to happen. So it is very important when it comes to the nafila, not to emphasize this to the extreme that it is fard, and make people feel like, if you don't do it, So, especially, the salah is different, obviously. When we're talking about the song, if someone does it, that's great. If they don't want to do it, follow Imam Malik.
Actually, what Sayyidah Aisha used to do is good evidence for not fasting or not necessarily fasting your qada before you fast your nawafil, because year after year after year, nobody would assume that Sayyidah Aisha would not fast at least one Monday in a year, one Thursday in a year. 1 year she would decide to fast the 6.
Right.
So it's much more relaxed than having to fast the fard before the nafila.
Right. The practice of Sayyidah Aisha cited, what really matters, that you have to make up for the fasting before the following Ramadan. And this is why you mentioned, some scholars say that you delay it till after Ramadan, then you have to pay for the kafara. Kafara along with each thing, kafara subha, kafara. So, and alhamdulillah, there is a lot of room for different practices.
رمضان
Next time, tomorrow, we'll talk about another issue actually, which is some scholars actually, but let's just talk about it tomorrow when we talk about the Ayyam al-Tashriq, inshallah. تفضل سيدنا.
رمضان احنا قلنا الحسنة ب10 أمثالها، وبالتالي فهو 300 يوم. قد يصادف رمضان 29 يوم. وبالنسبة لستة من شوال أيضا 60 يوم، فصارت 360، والسنة الهجرية أقل من السنة الميلادية.
نعم.
قطعا، فهو زيادة
نعم. This is just a tip and there is a hadith that indicates that actually this is
كصيام الدهر
it's not don't nickel and dime with Allah if it's less, Allah will complete it for you.
النقطة الثانية بالنسبة للولي، يصوم مكان اللي متوفي، أو صاحب العصبة يصوم مكان المتوفي. قالوا إن وصى المتوفي أن يصوم أو يحج بدله، وليس على إطلاقه لا يصوم ولا يصلي. أبويا لا يصوم فرضا، حاشا أنه لا يصوم ولا يصلي، يصوم مكانه.
جزاكم الله خيرا. صلى الله على محمد.